For several years, the Gallup Organization has been doing surveys of employees. They've consistently found, and reported again this year, that only about 30% of employees in a given company are fully engaged in what they're doing. That means that companies aren't getting their best out of people, and that people aren't enjoying what they're doing. We've known about this in psychology for many, many years. It's called the Yerkes-Dodson law, and it's like a bell curve for IQ. With the optimal performance at the top of that curve. On one side, you have people who are under-engaged, who are bored. These are the people who are, doing Facebook, video games, who have that button on their computer that lets them push it when the boss is coming. Looks like they're working, but they're not. The other people, though, are overstressed. These are people who have too much to do, too little time, too little support. Neither of those groups, and they're very large groups, are at their best. The remedy for this is not just finding the best leaders or finding the best people. The remedy is learning to continuously improve how leaders lead, how managers manage, and how people do their work. And the good news is that we can continue to improve through life. The brain is continuously adding new neurons. The brain is what's called plastic. It can change at any point. And this is very good news because other data shows that leadership means first leading to manage yourself, your internal state, and that determines how you lead other people, whether you can inspire them, whether you can motivate them, whether you can listen, whether you can communicate. And leaders who can do that are the ones who get people engaged, who raise that bar from 30% to 40% or even higher for their team, for the people they touch. We know from research at Yale that leaders who are in a very upbeat, positive state, who themselves are engaged, make people on their team engaged, and those teams perform better. Leaders who are not engaged, who are downbeat, who are sour, create that in the people they lead, and their performance goes down. So given the fact that we know there's a direct relationship between a leader's own state and engagement and those of the people on their team, we need to help leaders get better at being engaged themselves. And the good news is that this can be learned. We have data from Case Western Reserve showing that these abilities, which by the way are the essence of emotional intelligence, can be taught and learned to people in mid-career at any point in a working life. And we also find that when people improve on something like being able to inspire, being able to listen and empathize, being able to manage their own emotions, their distressing emotions, and stay in that upbeat, engaged state, when people learn that, going back and asking the people who work with them as much as 7 years later, we find that there's leadership. This kind of leadership improvement stays with them. So remember, there's no need to kill the dream of improving at any point in your career. And that's what happens when you think, well, there's no point in people trying to change or improve. We'll just find people who are like that already. Instead, we should be thinking about how to help people get better and better as leaders so that they can keep people engaged in what they're doing.